We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day's going well. It is Tuesday when you hear this. However, we're recording it Monday night. Our guest, a frequent guest, and I know people look forward to this, um, Will is here. And I think people will look forward to Will because he's calm and collected and kind of easygoing when it comes to some of
Mhm.
the things that are happening in the country. And it's a nice rest day when Will comes in.
So I am very. I was on a live with not on a live, but watching Eric Analytical Iowa and Eric live, and I said something. And he goes, "Yeah, Will's calm," and I was like, "Oh shit." Okay, thank you, Eric.
Well, well, you're
Uh,
anything you're anything but calm, but that's all right. We all react differently to different
yeah,
things, and if there was ever a time to not be calm in this country, it would be now
it,
because every time we turn around, there's something more fucked up than the other thing, and it's a
it's
little scary for some folks.
yeah, it's day. What is it? Day 12 of shutdown. Day 12, I believe, or
I think it's
13. I've
day
lost
12.
count.
Yeah,
Day 12, and it amazes me that they absolutely Congress, Mike Johnson, has basically divorced themselves of the whole thing. Yeah, he could talk his shit at it's all Democrats. Why should we be here till you do something? Dude, you just gave your Congress 2 weeks of paid vacation. You're getting paid. The military is going to get paid. People aren't
yeah,
getting paid. And it's like, but you're fine with it. You're literally okay with it. And I thought one of the most telling things I saw is that a report coming out is that White House aides have said they have an iron uh, grip on Congress. He has literally given up his role as Speaker, which is the main check of the legislative branch on the judicial and the executive. They have totally lost what the Constitution is. Period.
that's interesting. That's interesting that you bring that up because that was a story. Somehow it's leaked out of one of the
Shocking.
leakiest White Houses in the history that apparently in the White House they are laughing. They're
Mm-hmm.
joking about how much power they have over Congress and that Congress is completely controlled by the Trump administration. Now, that may be funny to them, but it's also very accurate. That's exactly
Yeah.
what we're seeing. And Mike Johnson doesn't seem to really care about it. We have the shutdown day 12, as you said. They started out by saying, well, it's the Democrats doing that. All they have to do is look at the polls and realize nobody's buying that bullshit. But they're so terrified of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump apparently has control over them, they're going to keep it shut down. Now, Mike Johnson came out and said, we could be barreling toward the longest shutdown in American history. Why would he say that? He's saying that as a last ditch effort to hopefully try to scare the Democrats from
And,
creating all this havoc by not bending to their will. This is
and if,
when the Democrats need to stand up and say, fuck
oh,
you. We're never bending to it.
I don't think they will because the thing about it is you keep hearing, and I heard it especially on the Sunday shows, they're calling it the Schumer shutdown. Hey guys, we know on our side that Chuck Schumer is a passive man. You
Yeah.
cannot name something after him because it won't work. When you say it, we all kind of go, nah, ain't working. I mean, you might have got away with it with Hakeem Jeffries, but that passed the House. But I listen to that, I'm going, yeah, ain't working. That it's not resonating. Now it's resonating within their own party. I mean, you probably get comments. I get comments about when we talk about the shutdown, and I get literally it's like they copy and paste Fox News the $1.6 trillion that Democrats want to give illegal aliens health care. We know that's a lie. You know that's a lie, but they keep feeding that to them and they love it. But it ain't resonating. It's not. It's
No,
not
it's not. I
working,
don't know many
guys.
people. I don't know how many people are buying it because if you look at the polls, they're sticking it solidly at the feet of the Republicans. Now, Mike Johnson um, is looking for any way he can to argue the situation. They say, well, how do you negotiate this thing? Because you've been on vacation for 3 weeks. He says, well, we
Yeah.
passed it in the House and now it's up to the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate. Well, that's not how these bills work, especially a bill like this. Typically, what would happen, the House would create a bill, send it to the Senate. The Senate would then change it. It would have to go back to the House, and they'd either accept it or change it, and it could go back and
Yeah,
forth like that many
it's a
times.
resolution.
Never in history that I know of, well, I won't say never in history, but typically when we're dealing with something this contentious, the House doesn't get to create a bill with no changes to it because the Senate usually has something to say about it.
Right,
And if the Senate does change it and they're on vacation, who's the one slowing shit down? The
right.
fucking
Because they
House, the
get
Republicans.
because it has to go back for, I forgot the term. There's a term for it. Well, each the House and they have to resolve the differences.
Right.
I mean that's my God. I mean it, I can go back to Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill. That's what it is. But you see, they twisted everything with the Constitution to make it that the president can do anything he wants, and they're giving him that.
Yeah.
Congress, I mean, Mike Johnson, I mean, I thought Kevin McCarthy was going to go down. I'll give Kevin Hart credit. He at least kind of pushed back, and it cost him his seat. I
Yeah.
got it because he really cared about. To be honest, he really kind of cared that the government ran. This dude don't give a fuck. To be blunt, he doesn't because he feels that he's set. That as long as he deals with Trump wants, he's going to be okay. It's all going to be fine. We will win this in the end because the Democrats will shat the bed eventually. They're not going to. You know why? Because the momentum, even if Democrats ran the worst candidates right now, you're still going to lose. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit what's going on in North Carolina. They're going to do the redistricting thing. It won't matter. Who are you going to run? It's going to
Well, you
blow
know,
up in Texas the face. It's stupid. It's not going to
the thing
work,
is,
guys.
the Republicans and Mike Johnson are in a very tough situation because I would be willing to bet that 90% of those people, well, 80% of those people, Republicans in the House and the Senate, know what's right. They don't want to cut the ACA because that would be devastating to their constituents and to their campaigns. They don't want to do it, but they're too afraid to go against Donald Trump and Mike Johnson, the weakest among them. So they're really caught between a rock and a hard space. They know what the right thing to do is, but they aren't ready to walk away from Donald Trump as yet. So their terror causes them to make decisions they know are wrong. And that's got to be difficult for them. But they are weak ass cowards. So maybe it's not so difficult.
And then they keep talking about the people tell them that they're doing the what people? What constituents are telling you that? I've seen the
Yeah.
fucking town hall meetings. Okay, who, what, where, why, how? But see, that's their story, and they're sticking to it. And with the Congress shut down, Trump likes the Congress shut down. Stephen Miller likes the Congress shut down. Russ Vought likes the Congress shut down. Why? Because it gives them room, they think, to work. I
Yeah.
mean, and especially, let's all be really frank. Stephen Miller, except let the cat out of the bag twice last week. We talked about the plenary power, but the other thing he did the other day is said, "I will send troops somewhere." Really, I will. Really, Pee Wee German.
Yeah.
So, who's running the country? Who's in charge? Because it sure
Well,
ain't Trump, and it's got to be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, no, I understand there are some people looking to use a strategy like they used with Elon, and it worked to a certain extent. Um, Start referring to Stephen Miller as the president and Donald Trump just a fucking puppet. You start giving Stephen Miller too much attention, and that motherfucker won't last long because Donald Trump is an adolescent. He doesn't like not having the attention, and somebody suggesting that somebody's pulling his strings would cause some dissension at that level. I know he's pretty much locked into Stephen Miller, but Stephen Miller is a vile piece of shit. And I got to tell you, um, I because he is who he is and he says what he says and he's as high profile as he is. If I'm Stephen Miller, I'm a little afraid about getting Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, he's a weasel. He's a worm. He's hiding. He only pops up in certain situations. He's not doing Christy Nome doing the cosplay tour. By the way, Department of Homeland Security isn't FEMA under the Department of Homeland Security, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yeah.
But memo to Christy Nome: we have a typhoon damage in Alaska. People lost their homes, flooding, stranded people. State troopers in Alaska trying to resolve that. Um, memo to you: could you stop with the cosplay and do your job?
I'm sure Lisa
Just bring it
Murkowski.
up.
I'm sure Lisa Murkowski will get in touch with her and they'll work that all
Not
out.
one word out of that. I didn't even know that happened till it came across my feed and TikTok. I had to
Yeah.
go looking for it. Not a word from the press. It's a freaking typhoon hurricane that came out that knocked those homes down. It was disaster. We didn't hear a bloody thing about it. No, we kept hearing about peace, Trump's bullshit. I mean, this is how twisted everything is. This is what happens when government is run by incompetent assholes. They
Yeah.
don't care because it only has to be because it's all performative. It's all about performance and what it's going to look like. Well, how it's going to benefit us. That's the one thing about ICE. I would say this about ICE. The reason that people laugh at it, but you have to look at the logic. The reason that the frog costumes and people making fun of them are just standing there and not really attacking them, making ICE look stupid, it benefits us because Martin Luther King was right. When you do peaceful protests and you force um, the the people in power to react badly, it looks bad on them.
Right.
They maced one of the guys in a frock suit. That was a threat to you. I mean, the
Yeah.
point is, it's not. I don't think it is actually what Portland has given us is a way to just basically laugh at them. Fascists hate to be laughed at. Narcissists hate to be laughed at. That's why they hate
Absolutely.
SNL. That's why they hate South Park because in the humor is truth. It's bottom line. That's the truth of your situation. That you are so ridiculous, and all those guys are. What's the difference between the people in the cosplaying and the frogs than those assholes cosplaying as federal agents? You're
Yeah.
cosplaying. You guys look terrible. Did you? I have to toss in because it was hilarious. They sent home some of the Texas National Guard that still haven't gotten approval to go into Chicago. You're laughing. You know why?
Well, I know
Say it.
why because Pete Hegseth was talking to the generals, okay, and he was talking about fat generals and stuff. And then shortly after that, these Texas National Guard, there was a video coming out and a bunch of fat guys, and people made fun of the fat guys.
Uh,
So they have to react, and they fire a bunch of fat guys. I mean, talk
but see,
about pulling their
but these
strings.
but these guys are local guys that joined the National Guard. Literally, the National Guard helps out in disaster. They're local guys. Then when it comes to the physical fitness, they're a little bit so. As long as you show up on your weekends, you get some pay.
Well,
All
because
right.
they have regular people on regular jobs, and they
Exactly.
aren't they aren't really a fighting force.
And I heard that and I laughed. None of those guys, because those guys were in the military. They were helping out in their state for what the National Guard is for, and they got shipped to another state, and they got stuck in the middle of this stupid cosplay of Pete Hegseth playing to be a tough guy as Secretary of Defense. Dude, you're never going to be any famous Secretary of Defense. You're not. You're
Well, you
not going to
will,
be
but not
there.
for the right reason. You
No.
will,
I
but
mean, let
not
me
for the
put it
right.
this way.
You'll be remembered. The
Casper
guys,
Weinberger
the
was
fat guy,
better.
the fat guys won though. They don't have to get stuck in the middle of this
Oh
shit, and they
no, they're
go
going
back with their
home.
families and their
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah, I'm going home. I'm going home, and I love it. But it's just like bullshit. It's just I laughed at it because it's what they do. And these poor guys, yeah, they got sent home, and but it's like ridiculous. It's part of the ridiculousness we're dealing with. And if they didn't have so much power in what they do, the ridiculous would be funny. But they turn around and fire half the CDC and try to hire it back because they find out they fucked up. They took out the entire special education part of the Department of Education. So if you have kids that are in school with special needs, basically the theme of the Trump regime is simple: fuck them kids. It's simple
You
as
know what?
that.
I was talking to my wife about this, and she's a former teacher, and she
Okay.
knows people who work in special ed. Now, the idea that they fired all these people is not good news for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But she said something. She said, um, in Minnesota, it'll probably be okay because the Minnesota will support what's going
Yes.
on. It may not be as good as it was, but it will be supported. Where it's really going to hit home hard is in the red states who don't have the
Yep.
money, don't have the interest to do it. So what Donald Trump did is basically rob people in red states of the special education services that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in those states count on. I mean, when you're fucking your cousins over and over again, some of
Yeah.
the kids end up a little slow. So,
But the hardest, the saddest thing about it is those people are his base. They still
yeah,
will vote for him,
right,
but they're going
right.
to suffer the most under this stuff. And now they're starting to. That's why we saw some of these people trying to turn, but they're doing it the wrong way. By the way, just a note: I'm going through the FYP this morning, and you get the lives that pop up in your FYP. At
Yeah.
least 3 of them were about the Purple Revolution, and I'm blocking shit. Stop it. And I know why you guys do it. I know why you guys do it because you want the assholes to come in. You want to get your little hearts. You want to get paid. I know why you do it, but I'm blocking you because that conversation should not be said. We're done with that bullshit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was over a long time ago. People will
Yeah.
jump on any trend and hopefully they can get some clout. I said a few things about it. I was never interested because I don't join clubs. I knew
Yeah.
it was a bullshit and it ended up being bullshit. So
It's not
let's
bullshit.
move on. We got
But
bigger issues to fry.
and that and the other lives that I will block is your MAGA. Tell me why. Fuck you. Okay. I know
Yeah.
why you do it. Okay. I know why you do it. I'm just no. Don't give them any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Breathing room. Because
Yeah.
they'll defend themselves with the stupid shit again. That's why they don't go into your lives. They don't want to go into that live. First of all, they'll get eaten. And 2, we're not worth their time. I finally took your advice. I get shit from Now MAGA. I've got my new account, RJ127, and TikTok got 150 followers now. I ain't doing shit other than what I
Yeah.
normally do. But the one thing I'm doing differently when I see a Trumplefuck, block, block.
Absolutely. That's what
Screw
you got to
this.
do.
Because they're not. I read their comments. I'm like, really, and it's not worth my time. And dude, really, you look like you eat cheeseburgers. Can you come up with something more original, bitch? Please. I
I
mean,
had I had one guy come in the comments and I wish I could talk to these people, but I refuse to do it. You know, occasionally I'll get a Trump fuck in and they'll make some comment. And I was making a comment about Donald Trump being old and dementia and can't remember shit. and, and this comment was, maybe you should look in a mirror. Oh, motherfucker, is that the
really,
best you got? Really? Is that the best you got? I wouldn't even argue with you because it'd be like kicking a puppy. Shut the fuck up. You're blocked.
it's silly. But the point is that your arguments are old now. You can't
Yeah,
win these because the proof's in the pudding now. The proof is out there. Everything we told you that was going to happen has fucking happened. Everything has happened. Even with the government shut down, even that aside, everything we said was going to happen is happening. It only took him, what, 10 months to break the economy? Economy's broken. We don't
it
have no
is.
idea what's going on in the economy. We're flying blind. Why are we flying blind? Because because we have no reports from the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. They're just sitting there waiting. That's another reason why they keep this damn government shut down, as opposed the Epstein files we know about. He's not seating the representative from Arizona, I keep forgetting her name, from
Grijalda.
Arizona,
I think it's
Grijalda.
Grijalda.
Yeah, and they brought that up, and he said, yeah, well, you guys open it up, we'll do it. We'll have it in session. We're not in session now. And they bring it up. We've done this when you're not in session. Yeah, well, release, you Democrats get rid of the shutdown, we go, oh, motherfucker. Come on, Mikey. I know you think you're scoring. He thinks he's scoring points. He ain't scoring shit.
Well,
He's not working for you.
When they say stuff, well, we'll do it. You know, when you open up everything they say is try to be leverage against the Democrats to give in. And I think for once the Democrats have decided we're not giving in under any circumstance, because if they do, they'll basically sacrifice millions of people in their health care and cost people all kinds of money. So there really is no motivation for them to stop, especially since the shutdown is really being blamed on the Republicans. I said before, when they came in initially, and they said, we're going to blame it on you, and we're going to shut it down, and we're going to do this. If I was the Democrats, I'd say, okay, we're prepared to let it shut down till fucking midterms.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of hardball you got to play with these fucks.
And let's talk about things that have happened since there. We know the air traffic control situation is going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And then Scott, what's his name? Scott, I keep forgetting, the road rules guy. Scott Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy. I knew it was some kind of 90210 fucking name. Okay, Sean Duffy. You know, he said that, you know, we'll just fire them because they're problem children. Yeah, so who are you going to hire, dude?
Yeah.
Cletus? Are you going to bring in some ICE agents? You know, you got a few to run there because they have no concept of what would happen if they do that. Because they think, yeah, we'll do what Ronald Reagan did. Yeah, that didn't work real well either. It didn't. Because
it worked horribly.
Worked horribly. So here we are now, and that's their reaction to it. Well, they don't want to work. Yeah, because I'm not getting paid, dude. I'm not getting paid for 12 hours with people's lives on the line with my words, and you expect me to work for nothing.
Well, and the thing about it is Donald Trump made it worse. I mean, this dumb fuck can't even figure this out. Okay, they're on a shutdown. You maybe want to blame the Democrats. You're not getting paid. People are pissed off about it, but they know that once it's over, they'll get their money, and it sucks, but at least I'm getting my money. Then Donald Trump comes out and says, we may not pay back pay. Now you're really working for nothing. Yeah. So what's the point?
Oh, we're just going to fire people too. See, that's
working for nothing.
Yeah, and so it doesn't. It's actually just about the cruelty, and then you have the military. Let's talk. We talked about it. You did a video. I've done videos. So all of a sudden, you know, when Trump went to the Navy station, because Melania needed to meet some people, you know, get her thing on. And he said, because I like what you said, I'm going to hold on to that to the day I die. When he was there, he told them that I'm going to make sure you get paid. But that went away into the ether. And then the stories came out that military families are going to food banks to get food, which have been cut with money that Doge cut originally. So now he's getting that back, and he's telling Pete Hegseth, yeah, we need money. I need you to pay everyone. So they come. So all of a sudden, they're going to drag $8.9 billion off of a budget designed for R&D.
Right.
I don't know if they can do it. They're not sure how they can do it. But here's where the plot thickens. So you saw J.D. Vance's act this Sunday on the Sunday shows. He was doing his scotch. One of the statements he made is when they brought out, hey, how are you going to pay for, Trump says you need to get the military paid. How are we going to pay for that? What does the dude say? We're going to use the tariff money we have.
The tariff money.
And he brought up the $17 trillion that tariffs have brought in the United States. First of all, there is no $17 trillion. Where's the money? If we had $17 trillion in the last, 10 months, we wouldn't have a deficit. Right. You could pay for all this, okay? You could pay for everything because when he asked him about some of it, one of his answers was, well, we have resources, we're kind of low. But you just told me you had $17 trillion lying around.
Right.
Which is it? brother. So now he's saying it's coming from tariff money, but even if there's any kind of money in the treasury, you can't take money out of there and designate it because only Congress can designate money. It's in the Constitution. Okay? And
Yeah.
so now we don't know on the 15th if they're going to get paid or not.
No, that's
No,
tomorrow.
that's
That's
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
And they don't know because this is what's going on. Which brings us to JD Vance that day, because I want to address his idiocy. First of all, kudos to George Stephanopoulos. Tell him, get the fuck out of here. You're
Yeah.
lying about, all of a sudden, you know what Tom Homan's going on. Tom Homan took a bribe.
No
Let's be
question.
honest. Tom Homan took a bribe. It's on tape with the FBI. And Pam, he asked the same question that Congress senators were asking Bondi in her Senate hearing, where's the money? Not that he took it, where's the money? She didn't answer where the money is. And then J.D. Vance, first of all, I don't know what went with, well, that's just always been settled to, I have no idea what you're talking about, which I'm like going, dude, you just said you said he didn't, what? And then that's what Stephanopoulos killed him, took it off. But I'm watching him struggle through all of these interviews. He even talked about WIC program that on the 18th is going to run out of money.
Yeah.
That means, mothers
Which
and
is
children.
5 days from now.
5 days from now. Again, Trump regime, the Trump regime subtitle, fuck them kids. That's what's going to happen. And he said, yeah, they're going to run out of the money, but that's Democrats' fault because of the Schumer shutdown. Motherfucker, really?
If you're president
Really?
of the United States, regardless of whose fault it is, you should be concerned about it. And he just proved he doesn't give a fuck.
And so this is what I started. What people are concerned that Trump went back to Walter Reed for a second time,
Second
and
annual checkup.
second annual. But here's the thing: we saw his face collapse. About 3 weeks ago? Kind of that droopy face. We all know what that is. You don't have to be a medical person going, that's a stroke. That's a micro stroke. And so someone was able to get hold of some treatments to Walter Reed that they're saying he's being treated for strokes, micro strokes. Remember what happened to Fetterman in Pennsylvania? That's kind of what Trump's going through, which is a bad thing for someone who's almost 80 and his health. Okay. So he's having micro strokes, which basically explains the dementia and the craziness. So again, speculation is how long does Trump have? So it brings us back to the discussion, and I get these all the time with people going, yeah, well, JD Vance is going to be worse. No. I'm watching JD Vance during those jumps around. Donald Trump is a bullshitter. Donald Trump is all the things we can say he is. But even in his worst days, when he's word solid and everything, there's a persona about him and a presentation about him that's solid. Okay. And the reason I say that is that it's crazy, but he doesn't hesitate with it. He doesn't back away from it. It is what it is. Go ahead.
He's too stupid and delusional to question himself.
Yeah.
He could come up with the dumbest idea and he'll spew it out like it's gospel and it's absolute genius. And he believes it, or at least he seems like he believes it.
And his persona and presentation have people bought it. If you watch JD Vance, that's a man who will believe anything that he needs to do in order to move ahead. Because we started from someone who hated Trump to now is Trump's best buddy. But when you hear him talk, and every time someone questions it, he doesn't know how to react to it. He backpedals and tries to figure a way out of it. It looks weak.
Yeah,
you can hear him. We're weak. So we know that the Republicans know that everything that's going on is insane. You said in the beginning of this conversation, they're afraid of Trump. They know it's fucked up, but they're still going to follow it because they fear Trump. If Trump's removed from the equation by the Grim Reaper, okay, and J.D. Vance steps in, they don't fear J.D. Vance.
Yeah,
They
fuck
laugh
him.
at JD Vance.
They don't even
He's
like him.
hated, but no one likes him in his Senate. He is hated, and he has no power. He has nothing to give the base. When he speaks, when you hear him speak, you go, man, what? There's something missing. There's no conviction. You could hear it. Again, Trump's crazy, but his conviction in is crazy, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And that's how
Yeah.
he sold it. Um, that's what people were buying into the crazy bullshit. He doesn't have it. He sounds so milk toast that as soon as he goes to the House and Senate, I mean, the aides are saying, yeah, we have an iron fist on the Congress. No, Donald Trump has an iron fist of the Congress.
Yeah.
He goes, Congress is going, oh, yeah, fuck you, JD. I need to survive now.
Yeah.
Because,
That's exactly what will happen. As long as
yeah,
Donald Trump is out of the equation, they're going to go back to doing whatever they want. I
and
just want to say
go
this.
ahead.
Donald Trump has got this conviction, as you said, and he'll say the things, but he's coming to the point where even the people that trust him are going to question him. I'll give you an example. You said he's going to find a way to, or wants to find a way to pay the military. Now, he couldn't figure
Right.
out anything, so he pawned it off on Pete Hegseth. And when Pete Hegseth fails, because he won't have the money tomorrow when it's due, then he'll get
Mm-hmm.
mad at Pete Hegseth and said, I told him to do it, even though he
Right.
gave him no way out. And if you think they're going to come up with a way to pay the military, how's that farm bailout coming? We heard about the farm
Exactly.
bailout. Where is it?
That's got to go through Congress.
There
It
you
has to
go.
go through Congress. And that's the thing. They keep talking about this. Hey, all the Democrats are asking for, honestly, in the entire pantheon on things, even if they compromise and go, okay, we'll keep the Medicaid and SNAP cuts, but leave the ACA stuff in.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. If that's a compromise, it's not a good compromise, but that's a compromise will still benefit more people. Okay. Everyone that's in the ACA. I mean, if I would guarantee you, if Schumer said, okay, great, leave the ACA tax credits in, don't worry about the rest, and we'll pass this mother for you. I will guarantee you they won't do it
Because Donald Trump
because
doesn't care. He
no,
likes appearing strong by having it
right.
shut down. He's basically thinking he's rubbing the Democrats' face in it, but in fact, he's fucking over the Republicans in the process. That's how
And,
stupid he
and
is.
and no one's buying your $1.6 trillion for immigrants. I saw that thing that tete-a-tete with Hakeem Jeffries and that other asshole talking over him about that. He goes, "It's a lie." Hakeem Jeffries goes, "Just it's in his face. Tell him you're lying. Get out of my face. You're just full of bull." Because you could hear he's full of bullshit. We know that's crap. Everyone knows. Everyone knows that crap. And they'll go, "Well, there is, yeah." The only time that someone who's not a citizen of the country gets medical care from the federal government is if they're in an emergency room to get stable. That's it.
Right.
Because they
And
have
they
to
don't
by
get the
federal
money.
law. They don't
It's
get the
not,
money. It goes to the hospital.
yeah, it's not to help the immigrant per se. It's to reimburse the hospital for doing what they're
Exactly.
supposed to doing by taking anybody. You don't sit and check people's immigration when somebody's got their arm cut off
Right.
or worse. You take care of them, and then when you take care of them, if they say I'm an illegal immigrant or I don't have health care, then the government pays it. That's the only deal
Yep.
where there might be an illegal immigrant, and I question how many illegal immigrants
No.
get that, but
It's
that's the point. They take a little
yeah.
thing, they exaggerate it and make it real, and some dumb fucks tend to believe it, but most
Oh,
people
they
don't because it's
yeah, and
ridiculous.
that's the thing. It's not working. Everything they say is not working. It's not
Yeah.
working. Really, you can hear it. It's not working. And now we keep the shutdown keeps going and going because as long as Mikey keeps the Arizona representative out, you are basically showing your hand that this has now become more about Epstein and
Hmm.
keeping that out or not making it a vote about pedophiles. Because the thing about it, it's just releasing the files. President won't see it. It won't go to his desk. That's all it is. He doesn't have. It's not a law. It's just a release of these files, and they just so. That's the thing. It's we know it's not working. The problem is They're happy with it because people are suffering. Ross Vaught, in his little part, is thinking, yeah, now I can gut the government. The problem is, you're finding out you can't gut the government. There's certain things that the government does that matters to all of us because they all, for 40 fucking years, they have sold us on this small government bullshit from Reaganomics. It is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yes, can government have waste? Yes, you can treat that at that, but to take everything apart, to rip it up and say, yeah, we fixed it when there's wires hanging out everywhere and sparking is ignorant. That's what it is. It's ignorant. It's just bullshit that they have sold us. Now, we're in the shutdown. Vital services aren't going on. People aren't getting paid. And the only people celebrating are Republicans on the far right, Donald Trump and the Heritage Foundation.
Right.
Okay, that's it. And the rest of the people are going to suffer. And they basically say, yeah, tough it. What was it that Mitch McConnell said when they were talking about the big beautiful bill and they were talking about Medicare and all that? Don't worry about it, just pass it. They'll forget later on.
Right.
Even in his idle state, he knows how it works. To an extent, he's correct. But
Yeah.
I don't think. But the problem is that's fine because he's still thinking like they did in with Reaganomics. Yeah, it's only about the inner center and them black folk or the Mexican folk. Yeah, well, guess what, dude? Your folk are getting fucked this time, big time. And like we talked about, WIC goes, they're fucked. Special eds goes now, they're fucked. It has nothing to do with racism this time because we're all in it now, guys. Deep into the pool.
Well, what's happening now, they can come out and say that everything's great and there are no problems and there's plenty of jobs, but there are real people feeling the effects. And those real people will have the vote come the midterms and they will be
Yes,
going to the town halls and shit like that. Um, but but basically what's happening here, what the Republicans are doing is kind of like using chemotherapy to kill cancer.
yes.
Chemotherapy kills everything,
Mm-hmm.
really. It's just a matter of how long you can survive the chemotherapy, the different parts. You hope the cancer dies first, and the
Right.
rest you can rehabilitate. And that's kind of what's happening. There's going to be a massive um, destruction of a lot of poor people in this country. It's not all going to be
Right.
red people. I trust you, but there's going to be a lot of red people that are going to be devastated here. And I wonder if that's going to be the point where they say, "Oh, we fucked up." I don't
They're
know.
finding.
I'm not confident of that, but
Yeah, they're finding it now. I mean, it's just the infantile stage. Again, like we discussed the last time, they're sitting on a powder keg. The the job market is sitting there waiting for responses. And what did Trump do? He stripped the what, another 100% tariffs to China, make Wall Street go into a panic.
yeah.
I mean, it's all seat of a pants economics right now. But the thing about it is, they like the government shutdown because they think Congress is not a problem anymore. Great, we don't have to deal with Congress. But when you start having to pay for things, it's not going to work because someone's going to drag someone into court, a federal court that even the Supreme Court can stop and go, no, you can't pay for that. You
Right.
can't designate money. You can't. It's like I saw everyone flip out about the when Trump says, "I'm taking away your freedom of speech when it comes to the flag law, the flag thing. You're going to jail."
Right.
He can't do that because the executive branch cannot legislate law. It can enforce law that the legislative branch has approved and the executive has signed off on, but you can't create law. Executive branch, um, executive orders do not create law. They maybe create such regulations of stuff, but not law. It's
It's too
simple as that.
bad. It's too bad courts aren't publicly traded because when this is all said and done, every person that's been fired, every person that's been marginalized, every person that's lost money illegally because of the things Donald Trump has done. There are going to be so many fucking
Yeah,
lawsuits that Republicans will be buried in lawsuits long after Donald Trump is fucking dead.
right.
And it's
It
just going to muddle the whole thing for the Republicans. I mean, the Republicans might as well just say, we need to shut it down and regroup and figure something out because Donald Trump is, for all intents and purposes, has destroyed the Republican Party. It doesn't bear any
well, I
resemblance to
mean,
what it once was, and it's not working now.
no, it's Trump's party. There's no
Yeah.
Republicans. This is Trump. It's simple as that. There's no conservatives. There's no independents. If I hear one more person they're independent, you're just Trump. Like, sorry, you don't want to take a stand. You look at both sides. Fuck you. I don't want to hear that. Either
You
you're
know what?
in or you're out.
At this point, I've said this before. If you want to look at this as Democrats versus Republicans, you're wrong because it's too confusing here. I'll make it simple for you. It's either right or it's wrong.
Right.
And when I say right, I mean correct, not right
Mm-hmm.
side. You're either
Ethical.
on the right side of history or
Empathy.
the wrong side of history. There's no gray area in between. You pick which side you're on and you deal with the consequences when it's all said and done. And the Republicans are on the wrong side of history. And over the years, over the decades, they are going to pay a heavy price. And the people who were part and parcel to this are going to be ruined for
Yeah.
their
And
for
and
their
here's
business
yeah, they're going
and their
to
personal.
they're but that brings us to what's going to happen this Saturday. October 18th
Yeah.
is No Kings 2.0. Now the first one on June 14th had no coverage. The mass media was very quiet. No one said anything about it. And what was it? 10 million people were
Yeah.
on the streets? And they still ignored it. Okay. Here we come to October 18th with everything that's going on with the threats to Portland, Chicago, Memphis, ICE absolutely out of control. Well, I mean, the thing I think is bugging everyone, the majority of us, is that if you want to enforce immigration laws, fine, we were doing it before. Going into people's homes to find out if there's an illegal, and I've seen the videos, everyone's seen the videos, you need a warrant. No, we don't. Yeah, you do. That's the thing. They have twisted all that. They've twisted the whole thing. And now we're coming to the second version of this in this environment. And it's starting to get feet. I mean, I looked up the nearest one to me in Atlanta, and it's going to be huge. You go, if just so you know, if you're interested, nokings.org, put in your zip code. They will tell you where the nearest protest is to go to. By the way, no one's getting paid. I don't give a fuck what it is because that tells you what's going on. They are so afraid of this one that they're starting
They
to
seem to be.
they're starting to put it as, oh, it's an Antifa march. Is what does Mike Johnson call it?
A hate protest, a hate America protest.
Hate America protest. Yeah, okay, hate America protest. So Sean Duffy called it an Antifa something, and they're getting paid protest. Someone referred to it as Marxist communist. What? No. You guys are about to find out that Americans are very, very upset, but we're not willing to go. We have found out that if we use violence, it perpetuates your lie. If we stand there in front of you and in frog costumes, it makes you look dumb. Or just peacefully protest, you look bad. And they don't want that badly.
Here's the interesting thing. You talked about nokings.org, and you can go find an event out there. And if you don't think that the No Kings thing isn't going to take control of this country, I'll see if I can get this up there. See that? Every one of those blue circles is a No Kings event. Every part of the country is covered with an event, except around Nevada and Utah, which isn't surprising.
Well, those areas
Maybe,
are pretty empty if you look at the
but
bottom of it. Yeah.
you're even seeing Texas and you're seeing some other places. So it is going to be crazy. And you know what's ironic about it? This is what I've always said. Trump and the Republicans will always fuck up all the things they're doing. is causing more people to get out to the No Kings events.
Yes.
By going on and saying it, Hate America protest, and worrying about it and crying about it is making more people go out to it. I'm looking forward to this because I think that they are terrified about this. They're
They are
not going to like the
scared.
look. The optics are bad. And you know what? You could have this No Kings on the 18th, and if you waited a month, it would probably be even bigger for
Yeah.
another one.
And
So
some
they're
people,
feeling the pressure.
yeah, that you can smell the fear. Some people are saying that, some people are saying, hey, they're going to declare martial law and they're going to use the military against peaceful protesters, or the police going to look. Let's be honest, okay? If you're, if you know history, if you and I grew up at the time of the civil rights movement, you know that each one of those people who went out to protest knew something bad could happen. Let's be honest. When
Yeah,
they walked across the John Pettis Bridge, they knew what was waiting for them at the end. They did. They knew what
yeah,
was going to happen with when Birmingham, or they sat at a lunch counter. What was going to happen? They knew it, but they also knew that if they let them, they were willing to make that sacrifice to make the other side look bad, egregious, nasty. That's what they're working on, and that's
right.
what's the thing that's going to work this time, because there is going to be no. They're talking about flag burning. No, I saw pictures again of the last No Kings. That was flag waving. That was everyone
Right.
celebrating America, what the Constitution is, what we are as a people. And the issue right now with you guys is that you want to put it somewhere else. It's not going to work. There is no violent protest this time. There is no George Floyd riots. Why? Because everyone is seeing what's going on. That the best option for these is actually peaceful protest, taking a deep breath, being prepared for what's happening. ICE is hurting people. We see them drag innocent people into detention centers. They've been arresting journalists in freaking in Chicago for just standing there protesting. Who looks stupid? The journalists. The
Yeah.
journalists. So this is actually going to be something bigger. And I saw someone, a professor of one history professor, made a comment. If 3.5 of the population does not agree with the regime, like what's going on with Trump, the Trump regime, that type of regime, those regimes fail. Those regimes collapse because the population has turned on them. Because everyone in Congress and all these people in Congress, all they keep saying is, um, they keep talking about um, that if you protest against Trump, you're protesting against America. No, what we're doing is pointing out the regime's negatives, and it's scaring the hell out of them because they know they're not going to support, because the military isn't going to support you.
Yeah.
There's no way the United States military, if you want martial law, is going to do it, because someone actually read the Insurrection Act, someone who I've followed, and he read it. The Insurrection Act in it is designed to protect people's civil rights and constitutional rights in a
Yeah.
time of insurrection. The Constitutional says that the only people that can get rid of habeas corpus, it's not the president, it's Congress. The military, the military is designed in the insurrection is to protect the citizens of the United States from the people threatening the United States. So when the Oregon National Guard General said, "My job is to protect protesters," he was saying, under my rules in the Constitution, the protesters, as long as they're peaceful, I'm going to protect them.
Right.
And so
Well,
it may, so as much everyone's panicked. Nah, they don't want this. They wanted everyone to go quietly into this night, to accept everything that's going on. That ain't happening, dudes. We are not accepting this bullshit.
well,
Simple as that.
here's the thing to consider. Um, Last No Kings protest was 10 million people. That was a lot of people. there's
Mhm.
going to be more people this time around. Let's say there's 20 million people on the streets.
Yes.
Try to install the Insurrection Act with 20 million people walking through this country. You can't do it. You don't have enough people to do it. It won't
No.
be done, and the military probably won't react to it.
And that's what they are trying to change the narrative. It's not going to work.
No,
It's on. People are invested in this now because we see. Let's be honest. We smell fear. We smell
yeah,
fear. I mean, why are you reacting to that? A normal politician would say, "Hey, go ahead and protest. That's your right. That's good." When you start calling it out, there are a lot of people who probably wouldn't know it, and then all of a sudden Mike Johnson called it out. Oh, really? That's why your thing is totally blue. People are looking for it because honestly, it's not working, guys. We can see it's not working. It took us 10 months. It's not working.
yeah.
And that's the thing. Everything we said was going to happen happened. All right. And now we see that you say, well, no, you can't give it a chance. Farmers, no, you don't have a year. You lost your farms already.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Jobs are going away. Your civil rights are being eroded. You guys thought that Trump would just there would be guardrails for Trump like there was in the first administration. There ain't no guardrails anymore.
I thought there
Period.
would be. I thought the Republicans would try to keep up some guardrails, but I was totally
No,
wrong about that. But
they
I
they
mean,
yeah.
there's no time for pushing the goalposts back. Farmers need help now, but they ain't getting
Mhm.
it. Military needs their paycheck tomorrow, but they ain't getting it. There's going to be people that are very pissed off
Right.
and going to be struggling because of the behavior of the Republican Party. And there's going to be some heat for that. There's going to be a lot of pain for a lot of people. And Republicans, whether they want to admit it or not, they're going to pay the price for it. And,
Right.
we've said this before. Maybe, sadly, maybe this is what it takes. Maybe it takes the whole country burning down before people realize that Republicans are the scourge of this country.
Yeah. To vote Republican is to court death because
Yeah,
Republicans never, especially at the state level, they don't do they don't govern. They just perform. They come up with
right.
other ways to make things worse for people. In Missouri, they voted. Do you remember they did the basically gave women a right for abortion? I guess it was.
Right.
The legislature ripped it up. Said, "No, that's okay. We're not going to do it. We're going to do something else." And they just ignored the voters. Who does that? Republicans in states that they take everything over. It's
Right.
insane. It's insane only because it's not American. And that's the thing we're fighting with MAGA. MAGA keeps saying we are America. No, you're not. You're so anti-American, it's sick. You don't want America to be what it was. You want America to be something that doesn't exist. I don't. I mean, I want you out of my business. Is what it is. It's not about governing. It's about getting to people's personal lives because you don't
Well,
like it.
and one of the things that people are worried about, the wealthy people and people in government should be worried about, I don't know if they are under Donald Trump, people will take so much for so long and then they will revolt. And been the
Right.
biggest fear of wealthy people is the rank and file folks getting tired of the bullshit and revolting. Now what they're doing is having a direct impact not only on red but blue people too. But there are people who are suffering today because
Mm-hmm.
of the ridiculousness of the Republican Party. There are people sitting in their homes right now going, I hate that motherfucker because I can't buy groceries, I can't pay my rent, I can't do anything. And eventually people are going to say, fuck it. I wouldn't.
Right.
I'm less worried about an insurrection act than people creating an insurrection because once that
Right.
ball starts rolling, they ain't gonna stop it.
You can't stop it. And right now, and but they live in a fantasy. You saw the before the shutdown, Trump's what was it round table about Antifa, round table, whatever that bullshit was. But he kept saying grocery prices are down, energy prices are down, that is down, everything's down. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Jobs are up. We're hottest economy. But he sells it because that's what he believes.
But the
And
vast
that's what,
majority of people know that's not true, not because he says it, but because they feel it. I mean, you can say
right,
that all you want, but if you can't afford groceries and you can't afford rent, you ain't buying that bullshit. I mean, it's no
no,
different. It's no different than the Democrats that were pissed off at Joe Biden, where they said, the stock market's up, jobs are good, and all this stuff, but the millennials and the younger people can't afford to rent a house. So the economy might be good for a lot of people, but not for them. Those same people are suffering now because
right.
of the bullshit they voted for in Donald Trump. And because they're suffering, there's got to be some backlash because of that.
Well, and when it comes to that, might have fixed it. Kamala Harris had a plan,
Yeah.
but you guys bought the bullshit. And a quick note of Kamala Harris. Hey, you no Kamala pro-Palestinian idiots. You look really smart, huh?
Yeah.
Being at her protests and talking shit. Just really looked brilliant. That was the dumbest things I saw. They stood up yelling at her, talking about genocide, that her policies led to what happened to Palestine. One, she was VP. She don't set policy. Two, you're going to say it, and I'll say it. The peace plan that just basically brought back the hostages, thank Almighty God. Whose plan was that?
It was
Who
Joe
wrote it?
Biden's plan. Joe
And
Biden's
the
plan.
reason it didn't work the first time is because Netanyahu pushed against it because he was trying to help Trump. Now it's passing. It's all because I keep saying, where does diplomacy? This was already preset. So Trump put his name on and said, okay, look, I don't care if they got a ceasefire and people are home now, especially if they even got the remains back, fine. Because I would again forgotten October 7th was a horrendous attack on Israel, on a peaceful part of Israel. So that worked, but it was not Trump. It was designed to give Trump it. There's nothing there, and so going back to what we're talking about. So you idiots talking about what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden had a peace plan that would have worked, but he was stopped by an evil man in Israel who was trying to make it to his advantage. Now,
Right.
here's the thing that he's not going to like. That he's not going to like. Now that peace plan ceasefire is in place, there's going to be turning on him now, on Netanyahu. Trump said in his speech at the Egyptian summit, yeah, he told the president of Israel, give him a pardon, give Netanyahu a pardon. So I want to know, Benjamin, why did you agree to this? Because you know you're totally fucked,
Well,
totally and absolutely fucked.
here's the thing I'm going to say. They got uh, maybe Trump and whoever else applied pressure, so they got the hostages released. But if you think the fighting's over, you're
Mm-hmm.
fucking crazy, because they're going to get the stuff, and Donald Trump will try to run around and take all the credit for it. But refuse to believe that Benjamin Netanyahu's not going to continue fighting.
No, yeah, there's already reports that the Israelis already broken the ceasefire. There's
Yeah.
already been reports on it. Um, but they got the hostages. But that was not Trump's doing. It was Biden's words. So going back to him, you guys were idiots. They had a plan, and it would have worked. It would have worked. They would have put pressure on Netanyahu to do it eventually. But here we are. Okay,
You know,
I'll take that kind of win. I'll take that kind of win for everyone at this point
but
because
Donald Trump always fucks things up, so it's
yes,
not going to end well.
no. So but now it's time because he did this also take some pressure off home because he's over there. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're dealing with all this bullshit, and there's no end in sight. There really isn't. I don't see it, like you said, that he wants it to be the longest. I could see this going, like you said, into the new year. I don't give a shit. They don't care, and
No,
things can get worse. But when the military's not getting paid and everyone's not getting paid, the pressure is going to snap. Something bad's going to. They got to do something. You can't just blame it's all the Democrats' fault. It's not going to work. I mean, I'm hoping that calmer heads come in, that they finally figure it out, but I don't know, because these people think they're winning. That's the hardest thing. They think they are winning,
I
and
think the
that's a
vast
toughie.
majority of Republicans know they're not winning. I do, because they're not that stupid, but they're so terrified of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump doesn't care if he's winning. He's just going to double down and triple down. He doesn't want to lose on this government shutdown. So he's trying every angle he can
But
go. I'm going to fire a bunch of people if the shutdown goes on. Democrats don't do anything. Now Mike
right.
Johnson comes out and says it's going to go very, very long. But the Democrats they've committed now. They can't back down at
No, they
all.
can't back
They
down.
can't. If
But
they
see,
do, I've lost all faith in the Democrats.
and that's what comes back to what you just said. He doesn't want to lose. When is this about just one man? This is about the American people. Okay, this is about governing the American people and not taking everything away from the American people. Because y'all, have you seen the new Republican tax plan that they've developed? That's
Yeah.
come from the Heritage Foundation. Oh, you're going to like this. First of all, it gets more cuts to the ultra rich. That's a given, right?
Well, you got to do that.
Yeah, but it penalizes single parents even more because they're not married. It penalizes them more. And then here's the kicker: they want to tax homeowners on the value of their house every year. You and I pay property taxes.
Right.
We buy our home. They want to tax, and in addition to your property tax every year, it's a federal excise tax or federal value tax that you'll have to pay.
So
No,
kind of like buying tabs for your car every year, except for
yeah,
your house.
right. Which
Wow.
yeah,
Over
no,
and above the property tax.
over above the property tax. And who's going to do the evaluation of your home? What's the percentages? I mean, I don't even want to go down that road. All I'm going to say is, because I don't know if you have a mortgage, I have a mortgage. My property tax and my insurance are part of my escrow. I pay
Right.
that every month. But if you tack on another federal tax that I may not put on escrow and puts my property ownership in risk, no, oh hell no. Well, who comes up with this? Who came up with this? Who came up with this? That's insane. No one's ever in the history of homeownership ever did that. Property tax makes sense because that goes local. That's for schools and for the counties, not states, counties. Okay.
Well, the
But
problem with doing that is this: say you have a house for $200,000, which is low these days, and say
mhm,
they want you to pay 2% on your house every year. That's $4,000 out of your pocket that you didn't have to take out of your pocket. So now, how is that going to affect things? It's going to cost people who own homes money, a lot of money, but in addition to that, there's no motivation to buy houses. Then all of a
yeah,
sudden, the housing market goes to shit, which causes the economy to go to shit. There's no thought process here. It's just
no.
how can I grift more money?
And then also, the housing market is tough as it is. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really the ironic thing is all these corporate homeowners bought all these homes, but no one's renting. Why? It's
they can't
almost
afford it. They can't
impossible.
afford it.
Can't afford it to get into. It's almost impossible to get into those homes. The reason that we ended up buying 2, 3 years ago was that we were looking at trying to rent. It was cheaper to buy.
Yeah.
It was cheaper to buy. And it was just, but that's what we're dealing with. These people have no idea what they're doing. It's just, like you said, another grift. And how do we fight it? Well, I think as we keep seeing everything through this October, they are, is it me or are they just desperate? They seem desperate. The
Well,
ICE people
it's
seem desperate.
well,
Christy
it's
Noem's
what we know.
desperate.
It's what we know about narcissists. When things start going badly, they start flailing and doing anything and everything, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether it makes sense or not. And this is the ultimate demise of people like this. They do too much, it becomes overwhelming, and they end up in a pile of steaming shit. And this is where we are. The only problem with that is the good side is hopefully we're coming close to the end of it because they can't sustain what they're doing. But it's going to be ugly,
Right.
really ugly up until that point. So we're going to have to push through a lot of bullshit, and a lot of people are going to have to struggle to wait till they fucking crash and die. Now, there is one other option, as I've said before. There's one group of people that could stop this now, and that's the Republicans in Congress. But they're too much. Their cowardice is ridiculous. They don't have the courage to do it, and they won't do it. So it's important when this is all done and we go through the shit that we're going to go through, and Donald Trump is laying in a heap someplace with the rest of his administration. If you're looking for somebody to blame, it's the motherfuckers you voted for, the Republicans that you voted for to represent you, because they put you here.
It's sad to think about how they've so ruined the American I want to say dream, but just being an American, they've ruined
Mm-hmm.
it. It's kind of hard to enjoy anything because everything has to be on some kind of scale. Okay, you got to weigh it. It's got to be this or that, which is stupid. You can't enjoy anything. I mean, the
No.
biggest example of this whole thing about the Bad Bunny Super Bowl. Okay, whatever. But now Turning Point's going to have their own one. Whatever. I mean, I don't care.
What do
I
they
mean,
get? They're going to stream it or something. So they're
yeah,
they're
they're going to stream
expecting
it. So
people
yeah,
to turn away from the Super Bowl, go stream the halftime show, and then go back to the. Yeah, that's going to work. That's not going to work. And
right,
who are they going to have on the show? People like Kid Rock or Ted Nugent.
right.
That would have been great if this were the 70s and 90s, but nobody gives a fuck
No
about
one
those
gives a.
clowns.
And it's like the reaction because it's a person of color that they don't understand tells you everything of what's been going on for years. It's so wrong not to enjoy anything. To make it's easier to make fun of stuff than to enjoy stuff. If you want a small microcosm of it, you know, TikTok goes through their little ups and they go through their little fits, right? Someone does
Right.
something fucking stupid and everyone leaps on them. Well, there
Right.
was a so-called food influencer in
Minneapolis.
Arizona.
There's one in
No,
Minneapolis too.
oh, but yeah, but the one I'm talking about is in Phoenix. That one lady who tried to basically extort a free meal from this bakery in Phoenix, who is run by
Right.
a French chef who has won a James Beard Award. She basically sent him an email and said, "Hey, give me free food. I'll give you a free, a positive review." And she said, "We don't got that in the budget." So she went and did a review and just basically torched the place. The only problem is that lady's French, and she said, "Oh hell no." First, she brought because when they called that lady out on it, she goes, "I didn't do it." "Oh yeah, here's the message you sent me. Let me show everyone." And then she talked about all the ingredients. The lady set out her entire how I bake. This woman got burned. The point is that person, you can do a review and say it sucks. Okay. There's one guy on TikTok that I really watch. He's called Mr. Chime Time. He's really fun to watch because he eats everything out of. He goes to like places and he comes and does a review in his car. That's really fun. But he reviews certain restaurants and everything in cities, and he's really straightforward. But he's fun to watch because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's that's a reviewer. But this lady was trying to make points at being negative because she thought that would benefit her. And that's where everyone is right now. You can't compliment everyone because it makes you look weak.
Yeah.
You can't say something's really good because it may look you look weak. It's again, it's the sports um, caster mentality. I can't praise you, but I'd rather criticize you than praise you
Right.
because I'd rather do that because that's easier. And that's what I think the bottom line of what we're dealing with for the last 10 years. is this lack of empathy or this lack of enjoyment. It's something that's different that you can't understand because it's all because your economic point is so low. You're so much stress to keep up. You can't enjoy anything because they don't let you enjoy anything.
Well, there's a lot of people on TikTok that, as much as I listen to TikTok and I listen to certain people, there's a lot of bad shit there. There is also a food influencer in Minneapolis that did the same thing, and she got outed. But it was what you were talking about before. Um, when I'm going through the TikTok thing and I see somebody having a live and say, let's debate Trumplafucks, um, they're only doing that for one reason,
Yeah.
not to help anything. They're doing it to make money. And you can watch them on there um, asking for money, begging for money, getting all kinds of money to do it. Now, I will tell you, when I do a live, I never ask for money. I may
Mm-hmm.
get some just by happenstance, and I'll tell you the most I've ever made from a live, $6. And even that I don't want. I don't want anybody to have to pay me to do anything. But if I was to do lives like they did them, I could make a lot more money. If I was willing to let every Trumplafuck join my page, I would have a lot more followers. But at some point, you got to have some integrity and some decency. People aren't going to believe that you're doing something
No.
for the right reason if you're trying to enrich yourself ridiculously in the process. And
And
I just won't do it. And there are people out there that you
yeah.
love right now
Right.
that do it strictly for the money. I can name 3 guys that you love that are doing it strictly for the money. Now, if you're cool with that, that's fine. If you're
Right.
cool with them making money off of you, a lot of money off of you, the only money I ever take from this, and I will take that, is when TikTok pays me or YouTube pays me. It doesn't come out
Mm-hmm.
of my people that watch this. But if they're going to use my shit to make money, I want my cut. That's the only time I'll take money out of this.
Right.
I'll never beg money from people, but there's a lot of people that do. And you can't trust what they say because the reason they're doing it is about the money, not about what's necessarily true.
Yeah. And I don't care. I mean, I have a space. You want to give me $6 a month to help me out? I don't care because I won't change. I can't change. And when I
No, I
was making
won't
a
either.
comment about, yeah, I was making a comment about that. Is like, it's like, it's stupid to do that. And people, and I said, hey, people will say, well, you say stuff. Yeah, I know. And I do this because I want to tell people what's going on in my view of it. But I'm not going to bullshit you to get clicks. You know why? Because I don't have the temperament to deal with your people. The reason I've gotten that I'm down to on account 3 is because my let that I got into fights with you guys. You can't fight these people because they're snowflakes. So where do
No.
they go? They go to the we're going to block you, we're going to report you because that's all they got in the
Yeah.
end. And it's not worth it because you've learned, the majority of us have learned, to debate these assholes. It's not worth it because they aren't smart enough to tie their own goddamn shoes, let alone make any. The worst thing about social media is that everyone can do it. And you and
Yeah.
I have seen some videos of some of the dumbest things people have said, and some of the meanest, misinformed bullshit that people got away with. And I'm going to say something that's going to piss everyone. Charlie Kirk was one of them.
Oh, fuck
Charlie
yeah.
Kirk was the biggest one of them all. I mean, and before him, before social media, you know who laid the groundwork for this motherfucking shit? Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh just went on the radio and basically laid the groundwork what we see now.
But
And
the thing
and
about
may he
Charlie Kirk
roast
that
in hell.
the thing that people don't realize was Charlie Kirk, and I've got another thing about Charlie Kirk after I do this. Charlie Kirk was just a podcast bro that nobody really
Hmm.
knew, but somebody saw that they liked that he was fairly articulate and he could stir up a crowd. He didn't become somebody until some billionaire said, "Hey, I'll give you some money. We can build Turning Point USA. I'll give you some money." So they cultivated this guy as a spokesperson for Republicans. They've paid him. That's the only reason he got to the level where he was making a lot of money.
Hmm.
And then surprise, surprise, and now this guy was just kind of a geek, a podcast idiot. But then all of a sudden he meets this beautiful, intelligent woman who has connections to the Republican Party, who has problems coming out of where was she? Romania, and missing children and all this stuff. And she falls in love with Charlie Kirk. Well, isn't that convenient? This guy couldn't get a date to save his soul, but this beautiful, uh, intelligent woman is now madly in love with Charlie Kirk. Is it because he's got money from billionaires? Probably. But now he's gone. She doesn't look very sad, but she's trying to organize this thing, and she's the one behind this extra halftime show
Yeah.
for white people, for Christian people. And the thing is, but I just want to say about Charlie Kirk, I don't know if you know about this, and here's some irony in this. I did a TikTok about it. Today is October 14th when you're listening to this, right? Today is supposed to be Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. Now I don't know who 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 will pay homage to that, but Charlie Kirk's Remembrance Day, because today is his birthday, October 14th. But here's the irony about it. You know who else's birthday it is?
No.
George Floyd.
Oh, Jesus
George
Christ
Floyd's
Almighty.
birthday. And you know what else it is? It's my 42nd wedding anniversary. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And I'm going to celebrate today, but it ain't going to be about Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you that right now, motherfucker.
That's so they have turned him into they turned him into a martyr. That's so
But you
sad.
realize
It's
nobody's
sad.
really even talking. I mean, he was the peak of all the news, and now nobody's really talking about him. And that's the
No.
failing with the Republican Party. Something like this happens. Oh, we got something going here, and then something else stupid happens, like the shutdown, like whatever. People just forget about Charlie Kirk, which is fine because he is forgettable. He's not important. He's
Hmm.
inconsequential, especially now that he's dead. But they will still try to bring it up and try to drudge it up, but they're so stupid, they cause more problems and they
Right.
bury everything else because now people are focused on the shutdown and Israel and Hamas and all this stuff. I'm going to be interested to see what happens when Donald Trump comes back from the Middle East and they start
Yeah.
fighting over and bombing people and killing people again because they've been doing it for fucking 70
They had
years.
something that happened over the weekend and no one even talked about. There was a border skirmish between Afghanistan and Pakistan. There was a
Really?
border skirmish between guards on that border. That that's should be concerning
Yeah.
because that could light up a whole bunch of shit. Because recently the Pakistanis and the Indians were going at it. Okay, you got to remember, and I always will remember because some of you don't. Pakistanis have nuclear weapons, which should
Yeah.
scare the hell out of all of us. In India has nuclear weapons. But that just popped on. There is so much tension in this world. Nothing has been tamped down. It's actually been ratcheted up.
Well, and
The tension and
I'll tell you why this world is in a more dangerous situation. People maybe didn't realize it, but whether you like it or not, America was kind of the policeman of this world.
yes,
Afghanistan and Pakistan wouldn't probably go at it for fear of having to deal with some retribution from America, coming in the middle of it or doing something. And that probably kept a lot of people in terms of fighting at bay. But right now, there is no guardrails. America doesn't give a shit. The
mm,
president doesn't give a shit. You want to start a fight? You want to start a fight? So now we're going to see more fighting in different parts of the world because there is no more guardrails. The United States is no longer a policeman. We're just, we're just going around putting out fires if we can, and we fail because the dumb fuck that's doing it doesn't know what he's doing.
Or we start fires by bombing fishing boats off the coast
Yeah.
of Venezuela. I mean, it's or we put the military, we ridicule our own military by calling the generals fat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all it's a bad thing because this so-called America first. Yeah, okay. So why do we have? They keep saying they didn't, but why do I keep hearing there's going to be Qatari military base in Idaho? At
Yeah, we
first they
really
said
don't
there
know.
wasn't, and now they're saying there is.
Well, at first they came out
What?
and they said Qatar was going to put a military base in Idaho. And then there was a bunch of pushback. And then they said, well, they're not really doing that. We're just training them there. Okay, here's my problem. You told me two different things. And I know
Right.
you're pathological liars. How do I know what's fucking true anymore? I don't know.
And the thing about it is, we have trained foreign pilots on American aircraft that we sold. This
Right.
is not a new thing, but you don't do it in Idaho. You
No.
usually do it, I believe, in Florida or
Yeah.
Lemoore or other bases. They
Or at
come
their
in as
own
border.
bases.
Well, yeah, but in American, like example is when we sold Ukraine finally got F-15s. Those pilots came to the United States and were trained on American bases with American aircraft. So when they got to Ukraine, they were ready to go into the aircraft that were ready for them. That's nothing new. We don't even someone said it was just a tent. No, we don't set aside military space for a foreign country to train here. They train within the United States military. That's the way it's always worked. But this guy comes up with this, and then all of a sudden, no, that's not what he meant. Then what did you meant, Drunken Pete? Tell
And
me.
there's a big difference between Qatar and Ukraine, too.
Mm-hmm.
Qatar gave Donald Trump a bribe in the form of an airplane, a jet. They also allowed him to build a golf course in Qatar. We also know that Qatar is notorious for funding terrorists, including
Gee,
Hamas, all around
yes.
the world. So, so Ukraine doesn't do any of those things. Why would
No.
we bring that kind of piece of shit country into this country to help them? You would think you'd want to marginalize them, not sell them planes, and not train them because they're fucking dangerous.
Right. And the other thing, and that goes back to when we talk about no kings, these assholes are talking about who's paying them. Well, the Qataris are paying Trump to do shit. They're
Yeah.
giving him money. I don't care what it is. And one thing about the peace plan, just a quick note, Trump still wants that Palestinian land.
Oh, I know.
I mean, don't give me this bullshit about this the ceasefire. The Palestinian people are still on a knife. They may not cease fire, but is the Israeli letting them bringing in food, relief? I didn't hear anything about that peace plan. Did you? Just heard it's a
Well,
ceasefire and exchange of hostages.
here's one thing I did hear that in this peace plan, it also makes allowances for Donald Trump and Tony Blair to sit on a board to kind of manage the situation. Two motherfuckers
Manage
you
what?
don't want. The whole peace plan and whatever goes on in Gaza. I mean, this is Donald Trump trying to do whatever the fuck he's going to do and try to scoop up the land. I hope, in a sense, if he does accomplish this, he's going to have one of his largest fuck ups because the one thing we know about that particular strip of land, constant fighting there. Israel's
Right.
going to get pissed. Palestinians going to get pissed. Other Middle Eastern countries are going to get pissed. You want to build a resort there? Be prepared to have some fucking
Oh,
bomb shelters because they're going to get the
my
shit
under,
bombed out of them.
my understanding is that they're talking about using American troops as peacekeepers. Okay, no. The minute you put American boots on the ground in that area, that is literally throwing gasoline on a barbecue fire. That's just throw the can on there and watch it blow up. Because
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen. The last time we did that in Beirut, we lost people.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And they think it's going to make it worse because now you just put in targets. That's just
Exactly.
dumb. And again, how do you solve this? Two-state solution. Palestine has their own government. They have to flush out the terrorist, and then they have a viable, and you help them build a viable economy next to Israel so they don't have this craziness. Now, that's not a new idea because decades ago, Itzhak Rabin had that idea, and Mr. Rabin was a general during the 68 war, general during Yom Kippur War. He knew that was a good idea. He took a bullet, probably engineered by Netanyahu, because after that, there's been no talk about a two-state solution. That's the thing. That's the easiest solution. And you give the Palestinian people their homes, you make them a viable economy, sitting next to Israel. Israel and them work together, and you end up with something better than what it is.
Now,
But that would require you to look at your enemy as not as your enemy, but as a fellow human being that needs help. And that ain't
correct me.
happening.
You know history better than I do, but I grew up through this, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Jimmy Carter brokered some kind of peace deal.
Hmm.
One side you had Itzhak Rabin, and then the other side you had
It
Anwar
was my
Sadat,
king. It was Begin,
Menachem Begin.
Macam Bacon. That was to stop the basically to bring peace with Israel and Egypt, because that was after the last Sinai War. It got out of hand. Um, Egypt invaded the Sinai and southern Israel and got their ass handed to them.
Yeah.
And that's when, and then during the fighting, if I'm correct, someone will correct us in the comments, I believe Anwar Sadat lost his son. And that's when Sadat said it's time for peace and decided to approach the United States and Menachem Begin. And that's how they came up with that peace treaty, which basically was to end the fighting between Egypt and Israel, which was a big deal. That started that peace process. That was the
Right.
only. That's honestly, if you think about it, that's the only thing that's kind of stuck because Egypt has never ever um, gone after Israel since that time, since that peace treaty was done.
However, much like Rabin, Anwar Sadat ended up dead too.
Yes, for that reason.
Yeah.
Sad, isn't it? I
Well,
mean,
it's sad, but that's why I'm saying you're not going to find peace there. Nobody's been able to actually get peace to take hold there forever. It
no
always flares up again, whether it be with Egypt or whether it be with Palestinians or whatever. And what's the common thread here? The common thread
money.
is Israel every time.
Yeah, but the point is, there's something that it always benefits somebody when this happens.
Yeah.
Sadat's assassination benefited uh, the far right in his country. Um, Itzhak Rabin being assassinated benefited the far right in his country, which led to this problem. Let's be honest, war is profitable.
Yeah.
War allows chaos to happen and people can benefit from it. It's a sad fact. And in the Middle East, unfortunately, there's so many things, there's so much running through it, and no one wants to compromise because it's my father's 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 problem. I
Right.
mean, think about what happened in Ireland until recently, why they had all the troubles, is because my father's father's father were fighting the British, and their father's father's father were fighting them. And that's the thing. They can't let go of this generational hate. And that's the hardest thing to do. Get rid of generational hate. So, I mean, is it nice to see this again? We're rounding back to it. Is it nice to see the hostage? Yes. Will it last? Personally, if we get through Christmas, I'll be shocked
I
before
will
this
be too.
blows up again. Because the current Israeli government has said they want to exterminate the Palestinian people. They have said it. They have put it into motion several times. And what are you going to do? If they're not going to give relief to Palestine, if they're not going to help rebuild that country, if they're not going to send food, If they're going to let the people just basically rot as it is, then this isn't a peace plan. This is just waiting for the next shoe to drop.
True.
You're just leaving it there to happen again. And that's the thing. He thinks Trump's going to come back going, look what I did. I should have won the Nobel Peace Prize. No, motherfucker. You didn't do the work. You didn't do the homework. You copied off someone else's paper. What a shock. And you didn't leave peace. You just had let them stop fighting for a while. Trust me, they're planning to go back to war because you're going to give them no choice.
Netanyahu has no choice. If he doesn't go back to war, he's out the door and in jail. So
He's
he's
going to
going to want
jail.
to keep fighting, or he'll start it with somebody else. We're getting toward the end here. We're going to
Yeah.
wrap it up. I just want to bring something up. I wonder if you heard this story. I only heard the general parts of the story, but it made me laugh because of just how stupid it is, and it's part and parcel to who the Republicans are. Apparently, Republicans, a representative in the House, was upset about Donald Trump not winning the Nobel Peace Prize, and he swore that he was going to get together his own discharge petition and get it through Congress and get him the Nobel Peace Prize. Does he not know that it's separate from the American government? Does he know now it's Norway and some independent thing? Does he think he actually can force this to give him a Nobel Peace Prize? Wow.
Oh, that hurts. My head hurts. Oh my
That's a
God.
that's a special kind of stupid.
I mean, it's true. The comedian's right. You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
You can't fix stupid. I mean, you're going to put that on the floor? And that's again, performance. Look what I can
Yeah.
do to help so Trump can love me, which goes back to the beginning of this conversation about JD Vance. Everyone fearing, no, there's no one who's going to do that for JD Vance. Trump
No.
is they're so devoted to him that once that goes, there's going to be no replacing him. I
No.
mean, Stephen Miller is going to here's the thing. Stephen Miller may be running around like the cock of the walk right now, talking about, I'm going to do this, we're going to do that. But if Donald Trump shuffles off this mortal coil, dude, you have no cover. I will
No. None.
guarantee you, everyone in that White House hates your little ass. I mean, well, he's got to be
It's
little
true.
because AOC says he must be 4'3". God, that was such a burn. Oh my Lord, that guy went insane. I never met him, but I think he's 4'3". God dang, lady, that was harsh. That you really are from the Bronx. Shit. Um,
Yeah. He's
but he'll have no cover. He'll have no
no.
cover.
He's the kind of guy that's going to get some serious shit, and it's not going to go well. It's just not going to go
And
well.
and again, it's going to be a tough ride because ICE is still out doing their thing. There will be a reckoning for ICE. There already talks about state police maybe arresting these people finally. It's going to get to that point. We're hoping. Although I saw the state police in Illinois stopping a peaceful protest for no reason. I hope the governor steps on that because that was ridiculous. They were just doing a march and the state police came out.
Yeah.
We need to discuss that. Um, but what gave me hope today is to what we'll watch the reaction to the No Kings protest. That really is giving me hope
Yeah.
because it's not it's just a protest, but they're flipping out. That's a good thing, guys.
Yeah.
That's a
They're
good
scared.
thing.
They're
And
scared, and
so
they should be.
don't and again to all those people keeps and Aaron, I love you, brother, but stop with we should concern ourselves about the martial law. Fuck that. He can't declare it. If he declares the Insurrection Act a martial law, if you read the fine print, it's gonna blow up in his face. And there ain't enough troops to do it, and there aren't enough troops that are gonna do it anyway. Don't panic because the reason even if they do something bad on October 18th, Who's that going to reflect on? Not the protesters,
No.
not Americans. It's going to reflect on them. And then they got to cover their ass about it. They're going to have to cover their ass. And I know the first stories will be, well, they started the violence. And, well, I'm sorry. There'll be cameras everywhere. Film. You can't get around it. You can't lie. And that's what I have hope on, is that maybe the old strategy that MLK came up with probably is our way out of this. It's not what I thought pitchfork or torches. It's people in frog suits just marching up and
Chicken
down.
suit. Chicken
And you think
suits.
chicken suits, and you think, well, that's not. But if you, as you can see, those people think they're serious. And bullies. If you
Yeah.
make fun of them more than anything, they hate that. They rather
They
you
fucking
fight
hate it.
them. They
Yeah.
rather you fight them. But if you make fun of them, they hate that. And that's what's
Yeah.
going on. We're making fun of them. I mean, let also quick note to Mike Johnson. Dude, just come out. Admit it. Please. It's better for your soul. Go ahead. There's someone for everyone, even your little sad ass. But just
Yeah.
come out. It's okay. We're fine with it.
Yeah.
We will respect that. Because I think that's part of your problem. You're just so confused. Just let it go. Same thing for you, Lindsay. Lindsay, come on, brother. We know. It's okay.
Put on your
I mean,
ball gown and
yeah, pull on your.
show
You know
out.
what? Show out. It's a drag. Do it. We all know you're a Southern Belle. We would love it. And I'm not. Am I making fun of them? Maybe. But maybe for their soul, it's the best thing just once in your life. For once in your life, guys, don't crash Grinder because you're all in one spot. Jeez, please.
I can just say this. I can say this, and I think I can speak for you too. People will ask me or ask my brother or somebody, is your brother really like the way he is on the doing the Rational Boomer podcast and doing the TikToks? And he goes, that's really how he acts all the time. And the same could be said for you. That's how you
Yeah,
act all the time.
sadly.
Like us or hate us, at least it's authentic here.
Authentic. The
Mike
best, I thought,
Johnson, all these Josh
yeah, they're
Hawley, it's
not.
not authentic. We don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, I always thought my wife made a comment years ago when I used to referee soccer, and someone said about me, he goes, she goes, your husband's kind of an asshole. And she goes, yes, and walked away. That's for my wife. Thank you
Yep.
very much. But the point is, yeah, I don't. The problem is, you guys keep performing because you think that's going to get you something, but you look so ugly.
Yeah.
Just let go. Honestly, if we found out that Mike Johnson had a boyfriend, how many of us would go, cool, we knew it. It's all good. Only his, just let it go. I wish it would, because I think, honestly, if you just let it go, everyone tamps down and relaxes, and everyone understands each other. And everyone could just have a good time. Just
But I would say this. I
relax.
would say this to Mike Johnson. He thinks homosexuality is against the Bible and stuff like that. I got to tell Mike this. I'm not a biblical scholar, but if you're gay or transgender or whatever the hell you are and you're hiding it, Jesus knows. He
Yes,
fucking knows. He
they know.
knows. You're not hiding it from him.
And it's not a sin. You guys, the church made it a sin for control. And
Yeah.
we can do 18 hours on religious persecution and organized religion. But just, that's the thing. Government has gone from governing policies and helping American people to governing your lifestyle because a few people don't like it. And once we finally get rid of this goddamn culture war bullshit and get back to respecting everyone's rights, not abusing anyone's rights, and letting people have their own lives without judgment by the government, If you want to judge them as a church member or a personal, from your personal standpoint, great. But don't bring your judgment onto the into the world of law and order, because that's where things have gone off the rails. And if we're going to
Absolutely.
change anything at the end of all this, is that I don't care what you do as long as it's within the law. You're not abusing anyone and you're not using children for it. As long as you're happy, you pay your taxes and you don't abuse anyone, I don't give a fuck. But as long as these people use that, and they've been doing this since the moral majority days, we're going to still have these problems. And until we flush that out of government, we're still going to have this problem. And that's part of the
Absolutely.
problems we have.
We're going to wrap things up for the Rational Boomer podcast. And on the way out, if there is a moral to the story, a moral to this podcast, to you Republicans that are locked deep in your closets, come on out, fly your freak flag, and just be you. Be free.
Join the No Kings. Not only No Kings, just no restrictions. Just come out. Just raise your hands because I am who I am. It's not, look, if you're married, you're going to have to figure that part out.
Yeah.
But for God Almighty's sake, just for once, let it go. And I think that'll help out a lot of things. Just let it go. And I ain't talking about the song, people.
Just a note to Mike Johnson, too. If you come out and be yourself, I still hate you. Had nothing to do with your sexual preference. I'll still hate your guts. Won't have anything to do with your sexual preference. It has to do with you're a piece of shit. All right. We'll let people know where they can find you, and we'll get the hell out of here.
Again, you can find me at Binder38 US on YouTube, Binder38 US on Substack, which is fun. The TikTok, and I think I gave everyone the wrong address because I keep forgetting they shorted it on me. Yeah, it's RJ127 on TikTok. If you want to find there, I'm still surviving undercover. Again, like I said, I have a Substack subscription if you want to help out, just so I can just not have to work the overtime I do. Just asking. It'd be nice. But just I'll do my thing, guys. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to Saturday just to see how it goes. I can't go to a protest because my knees are shot, so I know I ain't gonna walk this. But again, I would say go to nokings.org. If you can go, go. If you can't go, shout out from the rooftops that day. Do what they did in Network. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore because that's where we're at right now. Yeah, do what you can, and don't feel helpless or powerless, and don't let those people on the far left or the doomslayers going, we're doomed. Until this goes up in a mushroom cloud, we're not doomed.
No, we're not
Honestly,
doomed.
We still have hope.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. I am going to be celebrating today, not Charlie Kirk, not George Floyd, but my 42nd wedding anniversary. So
Congrats.
Best wishes to my wife and people. I don't know how to take this. Somebody said to my wife, what's your secret to being married 42 years? And she says, one day at a time. I don't know if I should take that as a positive.
I sleep lightly. That's all I got to say. Sleep lightly.
I do. I do. All right. For those of you listening, thanks for doing that. I hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.